We are experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by. Okay, it's gonna be one of those days. Anyway, good afternoon to all the desperados watching out there, the dads, not always on wrestling, and welcome you to our broadcast live, especially today from inside the Sad Cafe. We invite you to come on in, sit, have a seat, take it easy, enjoy that peaceful, easy feeling. You may be suffering a heartbreak tonight, no doubt about it, especially with the subject matter at hand, as a result of you, which women in your life or whatever the case may be. But in the long run, everything will be all right, including my microphone being where the hell it's supposed to be instead of up on top of the goddamn head. Anyway, oh boy, that's why I get to reading copy not more than once before I actually go to the freaking air. Oh boy, all right. We're trying to be here celebrating my favorite band of all time, and it's just been a Murphy's Law Day rather than a celebration of a peaceful, easy feeling, as the copy said. So welcome to Dads. I am the Meach. He is the Renegade, JJ Williams, here to start us off with his choices for the greatest songs in the history of what is my favorite band, what is, I believe, still my father's favorite band, what I believe is the favorite band when it comes to collectively of the Meacham household, and that is, of course, the Eagles. SoCal boys, or at least they're based in SoCal. I don't know exactly where they all came from, but they are based in SoCal. Very much a LA band, part of that rock scene in the 70s, especially out here, where if you were in a band in the 70s, you're on the Sunset Strip out here in Los Angeles. Of course, they played the Forum. God, they were one of the first acts in the Forum that wasn't a sports centric situation more than 40 years, almost 50 years ago. So they are very much a part of our culture here in SoCal. They're very much a part of my familial culture. So when the subject was brought up by JJ, can we do this? It's like, how soon the hell can we do it? It's the question I had on my head and on my lips. So again, thank you all and welcome. JJ, my friend, it's good to see you. It's good to be in the studio. It's good to be at the home studio. And yes, the green screen isn't on. I'm having a little bit of a combination of tech issues, and I look like absolute shit today, which is why I'm not trying to scare the small children that actually do get to see the countdown of the Eagles' greatest hits across your screens, because trying to wear a mask and the sunglasses just wasn't conducive to actually me being able to be seen and heard. So that's why the poor lighting is the way it is today. So forgive me.
Fair enough. You talk about the Forum being like a home for the Eagles, and dare I say, only second to the Kings back in those days. Because we don't acknowledge that other team that used to play at the Forum that wore similar colors.
Hey,
because they wanted to try to ride the jockstrap of the LA Kings.
I do from back then. They were winning championships more often than the Kings seemed like they were taking the ice. So I get Lakers all love back then.
That may be the case, but at the end of the day, all they did was ride the tailcoats of the company for the Kings that paid for not one but two arenas.
This is accurate.
So
accurate information.
Hence why I say,
yes,
next to the Kings, the Eagles would be the next home tenants, if you will, for that building. And
absolutely,
I've been driving around today, working, listening to my Spotify, trying to get in the mood for today, taking in the sounds and the lyrics and the melodies, and something occurred to me, Meacham. And this might be a bold statement here, but I feel you'll co-sign with me.
All right.
Dare I say that the Eagles have the best harmonies to come out of SoCal next to the Beach Boys?
That has been a debate within my house. That has been a debate amongst my father and I, because as much as we both love the Eagles, the Beach Boys are just, I dare say, second to none.
I mean,
period.
At the end of the day,
period. So
you figure they did it first for the scene, so you've got to give the originators the love. But next to the Beach Boys, man, the harmonies on some of their songs is just gorgeous.
What the plan is for today, for those of you that are wondering, they're going to do another show, or they're going to be playing songs for 6 hours and make it happen. No. What we're going to do is
we're trying not to get Jeff copyright dinged too much more than we absolutely have to.
Yes, yes. However, in the interest, as the deposed fearless leader used to say, in the interest of fairness, what we are going to do is, as I go along here, because again, I don't know what he's bringing. He don't know what I'm bringing. At least not the order they're being brought. We did have to kind of go sign a little bit on the list because, I can go out here and throw out the hits everybody knows, and JJ's sitting there going, well, what the fuck am I supposed to do?
So, more or less. Full disclosure, I like the Eagles, but they're not my all-time favorite band like they are to Jeff's. So when I went to Jeff with this, I was like, look, let me handle the greatest hits. That's the stuff that I can talk about with at least some semblance of knowledge and education. It was like, you can give them the deep cuts, the stuff that they've probably never heard of before.
Absolutely.
And then he wanted an idea of what I was gonna give to you guys, because I had like 14 or 16 songs that I had chosen.
Yes.
It was like, well, I can only do 10.
Right.
It was like, so here's the 10 I'm gonna do. I'm not telling you what order they're gonna be in. No. This is the 10 that I'm gonna do. So you can have these 4 or 5, how many there were left over of the greatest hits, if you want to use them. Or you can just, stick with what you're going to be doing as far as the deep cuts goes. So he has a pretty solid idea of what's coming from me as we go down here on this journey. But again, he doesn't know what order everything is compiled into.
No, and I'll even be as full disclosure as you were. When he sent back the list, I could pick one. I was like, oh, thank God. Because there were a couple of songs that's like, I really wanted to include it and talk about it, even though I knew for a fact they'd likely be on the better known stuff. There actually is one song on your list whenever we do get there in your ranking that I will cry like a muckerfuther because of personal connections regarding this, not even my family, actually where we're at right now here on the air. It's very much a deep-rooted connection to my career. So I definitely want to make sure that is known, that it is not because I'm emotionally lost or whatever. It's just, it is a very much a memory that whatever good or bad or was the time, it's still very much a part of me and what I have done in the last 20 years. So that's a little bit of a, not even a spoiler, but definitely a little bit of creative foreshadowing, if you will. So
there we go.
And forgive me also in advance, I had all the album covers with the singles covers like we've been doing when it comes to music lists, and only the ones that were in there when you came in to load somehow made it. And I went to go look at my phone for the rest of them, and they're just not there. So I'm not looking down and being disrespectful. I'm looking down to find the images again, because Google was my friend when I compiled my list and when I made my selections weeks ago. And my
Google was my friend too when it came to this, and we'll jump into this, and I'm gonna give a disclaimer here right now. Okay. My list is gonna be very subjective. As we always do on this list. I'm sure that when Jeff sees how I've ranked some of these, with the exception of maybe a couple of them, he's gonna be like, really? There?
Yeah.
But you have to keep in mind, while I did grow up with a family who played classic rock, who played the oldies, who did play the Eagles,
yes,
my knowledge of the Eagles was very limited to just a couple songs until about 1994 when this came out.
Oh.
Common Thread, the songs of the Eagles. And this is a collection of all kinds of country music artists of the time doing the Eagles hits.
Oh, just tugging the heartstrings right away. Here we go.
So 90% of the songs that I chose and why I ranked them where I ranked them is because of this CD and these versions before I even knew the original Eagles versions. And I want to make sure that is clear when I start to get into these, because I am going to reference this a lot.
Yes.
And like I said, these versions are why some of those songs for me may be higher than where Jeff would put some of these, or where you guys at home would put some of these.
Right. Keep in mind also, and I'm sure he'll get into this, later. So I'm going to step on his side of the stuff too much. We lost the background.
Because I
you?
switched things.
Oh, okay. That was me.
Because I don't think it's over. Oh, there it is. It's in my thing.
I
There you
did
go.
too. I
Bam.
loaded it myself.
I had to switch over to my thing. Go ahead, sir.
Got it. A lot of what you're going to hear from both of us is, if not centered around, it definitely is because of the 1994 comeback. So, which Common Thread was a direct catalyst for. So
Yes.
Yeah, we're gonna heap a shit ton of love on that Common Thread greatest tribute album. So you might want to get a listen on that stuff too as you're watching this today.
Definitely.
And yes, Colin, the Beach Boys were the original harmonizers. They were better on that front, no doubt about it. We discussed that earlier. I just forgot to click comment, to be honest with you. So
it's all good. So before I jump into my list, I do want to acknowledge the fact that although I have yet to get to see the Eagles live, and I will never get to see the true Eagles since Glenn's passing,
right,
I did get to experience the guitar greatness that is Joe Walsh.
Yes.
As at Dodger Stadium, when I was there to see Paul McCartney, he came out on stage to trade off guitar solos there for The End.
Man.
And that was a trip to see. Of course, this was after Ringo had already come out and done a couple songs with Paul, so I got to see the Living Beatles live at the same venue where my dad saw the Beatles back in 1966. And then for the grand finale, for Joe to come out and trade guitar solos with Rusty, Brian, and Paul, and then Joe also was a hell of a thing to see. So
I'm sure.
I know when we get to your list, you'll speak from experience of having to seen them, numerous times live yourselves, but I just had to get that in there, that little acknowledgement.
Get your shit in there. Do you know why Joe Walsh would appear on that stage in particular for that show?
He married into Ringo's family. I want to say he's his brother-in-law.
Yep. Ringo's sister is married to Jay. Yeah, I get it all the time from my friend Kathy, who I've known since literally I was.
Joe Walsh, who was Conrad Thompson there. But anyways,
right? Yeah.
But I digress.
By the shirt. I've known Kathy so long that anytime anything related to Paul McCartney or the Beatles or Dodger Stadium pops up, I get a ding. So yeah, she was at that show as well, and I got to hear about it quite a bit. And I was once again angry at everybody and anybody that was at that show and wanted to do bad things to those wonderful people I love. Anyway, carry on, sir.
So we're going to kick into the top 10 here for my list with a song that kind of spiraled out of Hell Freezes Over. It was on that album, made its debut there, was then released studio-wise afterwards because that was the reunion concert.
Yes.
Number 10 on my list is Love Will Keep Us Alive.
Oh, so good.
Yeah,
about harmonies.
Yeah, for real. That's gonna pop up a lot in my list, but Love Will Keep Us Alive, I thought, was such a cool way to kind of reintroduce the Eagles to a new generation.
Absolutely.
You figure they kicked off, the number one single for that album was the live version of Hotel California, which is obviously their iconic song. And so to follow that up with this, I just thought was great way to keep that momentum rolling.
Absolutely.
The song is simple but beautiful. Like you mentioned, the harmonies are on point with it. The guitar playing, second to none. It's a great way to kick off the list, in my opinion.
I cannot disagree. Like you said, when you start us off by talking about the harmonizing and the battle between them and the Beach Boys for that top spot, and leading with this, it makes it a mucker father of an argument. So, bravo, nice take.
Thank you. Coming in at number 9 on my list, I Can't Tell You Why. from the long run.
Man, I love it.
You know, I remember seeing, I want to say it was Behind the Music or something along those lines, and them talking about how, each member of the Eagles had their signature song. And this came out, this was like Timothy B. Schmidt's first songwriting for the band.
Yep.
First song of his on an album, bam, signature song right then and there.
Yeah.
Very rarely in music are you able to pull a signature song off of the first album for you.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
it's rare.
Very, very rare. And he hit point on this. Good Lord.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not as great as the harmonies and the melody type songs are with this group. I'm not usually a fan of those, which is why I was okay that this was on your list. But man, every once in a while I hear the song comes on, I don't just pass it by, because this song is ridiculously pretty.
This is the first of many on my list that goes back to Common Thread and Vince Gill's version on this, who ironically is now a member of the Eagles, having taken Glenn's place.
Yep.
Essentially after his passing. So
yeah,
the circle of life.
Right. Yeah, it's hard to not. And again, they had Deacon Fry, Glenn's son, with him for a little bit at the Forum show in particular, which I thought was pretty cool. And again, another reason why I was pissed I wasn't there for that. The Forum show recently, not the old one. I was pissed about that one too. But to have Vince as the quote unquote touring honorary Eagle is not without purpose and intent, and Common Thread was definitely, like you said, the start of that.
Yeah. Number 8 on my list, we're going to go to Jeff and I's favorite time of the year. Please Come Home for Christmas.
I dig it.
Another one that, although not on Common Thread, it wasn't the Eagles version I knew first.
Right?
It was John Bon Jovi's version from the very special Christmas Volume 2 album.
Yep.
Growing up when I did, part of that MTV generation, John Bon Jovi and I want to say Cindy Crawford played the female lead in the video for that song.
God, it's been so long, I couldn't tell you.
But, it's like, man, to hear John belt that out, and then you go back and you listen to it and you hear Dawn. And it's just like, as great as John Bon Jovi sang it, it's like, I think I'm going to go for the simplistic Don Henley version now.
Right.
Again, you can't go against the originals 95% of the time, I'd say.
Right, exactly.
Every now and again, you catch that gem of a cover and you're like, okay, this is better than the original.
Yes.
But they're definitely few and far between. But Please Come Home for Christmas is a staple on my playlists every year, ever since I was introduced to it by John Bon Jovi. And then once I discovered the Eagles version, both versions are actually now on my playlists every year.
They are. I can vouch for that as an ex-roommate and as a user of his YouTube Christmas list every year. It is official.
There you go. Thank you, Scrap Daddy Adam Pierce.
That's right.
Keeping moving. I'm trying to stall because I know you're working there, but I can't stall too long. So
please, because I can hear what you're saying and still can wax proxy on this guy anytime.
No. I know. I don't know how long it's going to take for you on your images, so I'm trying to stall a little.
Well,
bit.
I got you.
Just breeze right through to where you're like, well, I still have to do stuff. So.
Oh, I got you. Okay, fair enough.
But pushing right along here. Another one that this CD was instrumental in introducing me to. On here, it was done by Susie Boggess. Take It to the Limit.
Okay, here we go. Cry time. Go ahead, though.
I mean, it's another one of those, like, you talk about the harmonies, you talk about the orchestration and the melodies and just the way they put the entire song together. and it's so well done, so beautiful.
Yeah.
And again, like, then you put Susie's voice behind it, and it's almost as gut wrenching as listening to Alison Krauss sing When You Say Nothing at All.
Oh my God.
It's
Right.
just one of those voices put behind some of the most simplistic arrangements of music that there is.
Yeah. So for folks that have been following me for the majority of what I've been doing the last 20 years as far as the wrestling stuff, the very last scene on the original episodes of XMV, which is episode 100, it was myself and my buddy Lee, my buddy Josh, and our significant others, except Josh was single at the time, and Aaron's wife is a significant other. They weren't married yet at the time. Not the one he's with now, because Lord knows. Anyway, rather than some touchy-feely, emotional, trying to get us to talk to send us off into the ether of the internet, Aaron played this song and had us do a music video type thing, I guess, and we lip synced over the chorus as far as on the air. And if I can ever get the copies of the videos back, I will put it up when we post the Spotify list, or as soon as I possibly can. How about that? Because that section of the video is airable, and it's ungodly ridiculous and funny. But at the same time, it's like that was the first time that I'd hit the end of the road for one of the shows I did with Aaron, and it was a very hard thing to take, which is why Talk Wrestling came just a year later, because I missed working with him and I missed the audience. So every single time I hear the song, I think about the end of XMV, and I as hard as the song is already because of the beauty of the lyrics and the music and the way it's arranged, the muscle memory is a bitch on top of it. But I still love the song, always will.
There you go. Let's see what we got here.
Should be a number 6, I think.
Sorry if this rambles. My first intro to the Eagles. Hotel California is my favorite album. Full context, my dad is still alive, but I took him to the long road out of Eden. It was his first show.
Not a bad way to go to see those guys for the first time. I'll get into it later. My first series of shows was the Hell Freezes Over tour when they first came back after. Again, I'm sure you'll get to the album at some point or talk about it. If not, I will gladly do it, because I have a song from that album on my list. And for the people who don't know the reason why, we'll definitely get into it later. But the Long Run Out of Eden tour was actually a pretty cool album and a pretty cool set of shows. I don't know if I remember seeing them on that tour, but I never saw them have a bad show, so it really didn't matter. But good on you for taking your dad and to have him see him live, because they are a great band. I dare say they're one of the greatest bands ever, but seeing them live is a whole other animal.
Yeah, the Eagles definitely fall for me. I don't know if I could say top 5, but definitely top 10 greatest bands of all time.
That's fair.
Number 6, as we get to about the halfway point in my list of the greatest hits, if you will. Another amazing harmony song, another one that comes to us off of this CD. On here, it was performed by Diamond Rio. I'm talking about Lion Eyes.
Oh man, one of my dad's favorites. And again, that's subjective and saying something.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's like you just put this on and you close those Lion Eyes and you just listen to the harmonies. And this is one of my prime examples. Like, I'm pleading my case to the judge. This is like Exhibit A as far as those harmonies go, to rivaling the Beach Boys.
Yeah, that is definitely part of it. And also we did Songs to Tell a Story not too long ago, enough ago, where for some reason this didn't end up on the list, because it's a great story song. it's very much the story of, woman marries for money, but not, doesn't love the guy. And it's the story of the love, the forbidden love that she can never have, and how she feels about it, how people feel about her. It's, like I said, we'll get the list together, and you guys definitely give it a listen and let us know what you think on Ask the Dads next week, because I definitely want to hear feedback on this show.
Without question, like
100%.
This really intrigued me to do, because
Right.
I know enough about them, but it's also far enough out of my wheelhouse.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it rides that fine line for me.
Yes.
So that's definitely a good one.
And
Ryan adds, to this day, he has a mug shirt and poster. Ever since then, his dad and him have gotten so close. Also saw them on his dad's birthday just before Glenn died.
it had
No
to
band
be.
can hold a candle to how the Eagles could harmonize together. Again, Ryan, I dare say the Beach Boys, you listen to some of those songs, and
It's definitely
it's
a debatable.
1A, 1B where I come from.
Yes. Yeah, that had to be close to the end of 2015, because I know they were going to honor the Eagles at the Kennedy Center Awards, and they postponed it for the next year because of Glenn's health, and he ended up in the passing. So while you saw them toward the end, you still, I mean, if you watch the documentary, he had been sick, but he didn't make it very well known or keep too many people in that loop. So at least you got to see the original, or at least Glenn, because the original arrangement kind of was what it was for a while, but Glenn was on stage, and that was the important thing for me. If it's not Glenn and Don, it's not
Glenn,
really.
Don, and Joe. I would say,
Yeah.
as long as those three are on stage, you're
Well,
pretty solid.
yeah. If you go back to the very beginnings of the band, it was those two coming together, and yes, Joe was one of the originals that popped into place. But yeah, Glenn passing and them getting the band back together, Wolfpack style, was very much a need to tribute Glenn. I don't know how the world will react, how the band will react once Don passes. I think it'll be okay, we're done.
Yeah, that's fair.
Two of them together, with two of them not being on stage, or either one of them not being on stage, will be very, very odd for at least this Eagles fan.
Yeah, it's kind of like Roger Daltrey and Pete Townsend. Like, the two of them still go out as the Who and tour together, despite the fact that Keith Moon is long gone.
Oh, yeah.
And John Entwistle's been gone, would you say, at least 15, going on 20 years now.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
But as long as those two are still out there, people still feel that's the Who. But let one of them pass,
Right?
like, okay, boots are up. It's over.
Right? Oh, anyway.
The Eagles are the NWO, and the Beach Boys are the Horsemen for harmonizing.
You wrong for that.
No. I'll give them that, because the Beach Boys and the Horsemen are still the originals.
Yes.
So there you go.
All right. All right. You get a pass.
We've hit the halfway mark. We're gonna start the second half of the top 10 for me here, and I can't stress enough how much this CD plays into my list, because this one was done on here brilliantly by Little Texas. In fact, it's track 2
right
on here. Peaceful, Easy Feeling.
Oh, man. A Glenn signature song. Well, one of two, I think. But anyway. Whew.
Another gorgeous harmony track, hitting you with it as we come into the second half of the top 10 here, the top 5, if you will.
If you will, yes.
But it's another one, like, Little Texas made me love this song, and then I hear the Eagles version.
Oh boy, yeah.
And it's even better than the cover. It just is.
It's one of the few that it's definitely debatable. which one is the better version, because of course, you can't say the original is not the better version because they wrote it, they produced it, they released it, whatever. But
Yeah.
there's a couple on your side for sure that I go. There's one in particular I actually said it out loud and almost got backhanded across the room for saying it. We'll get there later. But
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about, and actually, we're going to get to both of those right now, I believe.
Perfect. Okay.
As far as for number 4, it actually wasn't officially released as a single. It was only released as a B-side.
Mm-hmm.
But it still got airplay. It still charted and everything because it was that powerful of a song.
Okay.
It's another Dawn lead. It ties to wrestling, as the middle-aged and crazy Terry Funk used it for a long time in ECW.
Yes.
And you want to talk about which is better, the original or the cover? On here, it's Clint Black.
Yes.
And we're talking about Desperado.
Yes. And this isn't the backhanded one, but this is definitely
it's coming next.
Oh, I know. I saw that. I got you. I got you. But Desperado is so multi-layered just for discussion, let alone the song.
Yeah. The one thing I think that would turn people off to Clint's version, if you're not a big country fan, is that his voice is just way too twangy for a lot of people's taste.
Right.
Whereas Glenn's not.
No.
So for the people that don't really appreciate country, that can't deal with that twang, they're obviously going to go with the Eagles over Clint. But if you can get past that and listen to his version and really take it in, it's a neck and neck race there for me when it comes to Clint and Don on this song.
Right. So the reason I say it's a multi-layered discussion. Excuse you, I didn't ask your opinion. Quiet you. Phone. Don't you start with me today too, phone. Anyway, because for those of you not in the know, Desperado is actually not originally the Eagles' song to release. They did help write it. They're even on the backup vocals of the original artist. And if you try to, and again, this wasn't the backhanded one. This was a sideways look when I first tried to say it out loud. The Eagles was better because Linda Ronstadt's song. This is her song. And if ever there was a woman in the world that would have been my mama, instead of my mama, it would have been Linda Ronstadt.
At least if you listen to the great and powerful Frank Meacham tell the story. Well, but I digress.
Back then, actually, probably would have been a likely scenario if he'd had enough access to enough of their shows, because my dad was a good-looking man back in this day. Now that he's not good-looking now, but he's 66 years old. Give me a freaking break. But yeah, Linda cut this song with I think it was with Don and Glenn on backup vocals. So there's that. But yeah, when hey Linda, can we? Oh yeah, go ahead. Boom, okay, bye. Off to the moon it went. And yes, of course, Wrestling Connection. This is Terry Funk's ECW song, which JJ, only heard Common Thread before that because ECW wasn't on national television yet when he discovered when Terry was in ECW. But yeah, hearing that song, even instrumental, over the PA with Terry walking out, it's like Terry gets it. And more importantly, in that case, Paul gets it.
Yeah, Paulie.
He's very much Desperado. Oh, good shit. All right, here we go.
We're going into the top 3, and we're going to go straight into the one that almost got Jeff backhanded into, 3 years from today.
Right.
And all I'm going to say before I throw up the album graphic and everything is it's the song that brings us this.
Oh, you did the thing.
I did. Standing on the corner of Winslow, Arizona. There's a girl, my lord, in a flatbed Ford, slowing down to take a look at me. Take it easy.
Oh man, I love this song. Probably abnormally and unhealthily so.
Once again, Travis Tritt on this CD. It was the single for this album.
Yes.
Desperado was the follow-up, but Travis Tritt's Take It Easy and the video from this album is what more or less planted the seeds for Hell to Freeze Over.
Yep.
As he wanted the 1980s era Eagles in the video.
Yep.
And they obliged.
With a wonderful, and in the video, meaning they really only showed them in the recording studio recording the chorus. So it's like, okay, but they were there for the first time in almost 14 years all together.
And they looked like they were having fun being around each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can almost imagine that during the breaks of filming the video, like they were like, so you want to do this or what? There's money on the table. Do we want to do this?
Right?
Like they're talking to managers and booking arenas as they're filming the music video. You've got to think, because
right?
They're having such a blast together doing this.
Yeah, when they thought that would never be a thing. So I thought that was really something that
none of us thought it was a thing. In fact, that was the whole joke. We'll get back together when hell freezes over.
Yep.
This came along, that video came along, and hell froze over.
Yeah. And had that not been the thing, I would have never seen them live. So it's very much Travis Tritt that I owe my in-person Eagles experiences to, and that's why I argue what I argued when I'm there. Okay, Take It Easy is, I would say that's Glenn's song, his signature song. He's the lead vocal. There's no doubt about it. And I did say it prior to his death, so it wasn't out of disrespect or whatever when I said it. But man, Travis's cut of this just kicks that ass. Yeah. And I like the pace of it. I like the it's not the bridge because that's the end. It's the end of the song, but the way he ends the song, ooh, ooh, oh, and then Travis, chiming in with his, harmonizing vocals. I just like it. And do I like it better than the Eagles? Of course not. But do I think it's a better cut? It depends what day you ask me. Honestly, yeah, very much a balancing act for me. But it's. If it wasn't going to be on your list, I knew it would be because it was the single off Common Thread, as you said. It would definitely make damn near the top of my list. Probably be number one if I had it.
That's fair. That's fair. Number two on my list, I feel is probably going to be the one that's comes off as most controversial placed amongst you, because you figure I've already had Take It Easy, I've already had Desperado, and like those aren't number two.
Right.
It comes down to the fact that when it came to this disc, and this is the last time I'm going to reference this, cheap plug. It's the last time I'm going to reference this disc. But when it came down to this, the next song, my number two, was the lasting memory from this album, because I was a huge fan of the artist that covered Heartache Tonight.
Okay. I got you. Hard not to like that artist, so to be fair.
Much like much like Travis Tritt did with Take It Easy, where he kind of was like, I see what you guys did, and I'm going to raise you here. I'm going to push all in on this. And depending on who you ask, Travis Tritt won that pot.
Right.
John Anderson said, I'm going to see that growl that you put in here, Glenn, and I'm going to raise you.
Oh, yeah.
And again, depending on who you ask, John Anderson and that just simple growl that's always in his songs.
Yes.
Knocks it to the park.
I had forgotten
where it almost sounds like Glenn tries to put that in there.
Right.
It just kind of comes with ease for John because he does it so much.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually, I'd forgotten John did this. Riding with who I rode with this weekend, and this, John Anderson was on the rotation a lot in the car coming home yesterday.
As he should be.
Criminally
underrated country
And
artist of the 90s. Even though he had his big break in the 80s,
right,
the 90s is when he went to the next level. But continue.
criminally underplayed even on the satellite stations now, which is boo shit, spelled BEW shit, that he isn't getting that kind of airplay. He's too damn good, and I'd forgotten he did this until you just said it right now, and it's like, man, if nothing else, if you know, hell, if you're gonna have a country night on one of these damn 45 serious country channels, play this damn album.
Right?
You know, I very rarely hear the majority of these. I always hear "Take It Easy" when if I do hear one of them. I've heard more of Desperado than I have in many years, and again, satellite radio is still a fairly new experience for me, but once I heard that version of Desperado from Clint Black, all of a sudden Clint Black couldn't stay off my dad's friggin' radio. Clint Black, everything. I'm like, oh shit, I haven't heard about Clint Black in 20 years, but here he is. Those two, and then there's a couple other ones that are on this album that are kind of that, you know, once I heard their version of the song, it's like all of a sudden my radio, like, ooh, let's be adaptive and play every damn thing they've ever done.
Just to highlight some of the ones that I didn't get to on here that weren't on my list, you've got Tequila Sunrise by Alan Jackson.
Yep.
New Kid in Town by Trisha Yearwood, aka Mrs. Garth Brooks.
Yep.
You've got Already Gone by Tanya Tucker. Best of My Love, Brooks and Dunn.
Yep.
And that's still not the entire album.
No. And the majority of what you just said is going to be on my list, and not. And no, you're fine. You're because you knew that because we and I talked about that. So, but the fact that so many iconic Eagles songs made it to that album, that cassette, that CD, depending on what year you were born. That piece of music on YouTube, because it ain't even on Spotify, which also is criminally bullshit.
I think you can find Take It Easy and Desperado because they were listed on albums of those two respectively. But the other 12?
Well, yeah, they're findable on Spotify. I'm not going to try to, completely shit on Spotify, but whoever is in charge of the common thread distribution, it's like, dude, that album cover alone needs to be showcased all the damn time. So
there we go. We'll do it one more time.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great cover of a cover album. It is what it is, folks. Buy that shirt on Greg Cherry's store on Teespring. But yeah, I can't say enough good things about that album, and I know you can't, which is why we're doing this show. But yeah, I love all the versions of the songs. And yes, the songs on my list that appeared in common thread are on there because of the Eagles. I love the Eagles first. But, common thread being out and going back on the road with these crazy fools, 1994, 95 definitely didn't hurt either.
Yeah.
Going over SoCal trying to catch the latest show because God forbid my dad missed an Eagle show. So,
well, we've been through 9, and when you're talking about the greatest hits, there can be only one.
Yes.
Welcome to the Hotel California.
I forgot it was a double slide with Pretty Maids. I forgot all about that. That's awesome.
I mean, iconic.
Yes.
Yep. Simple as that. Like, do you really have to sit here and wax proxy on Hotel California?
Definitely not that one.
Iconic. ...
Yeah.
You notice it's the only one that wasn't on here.
Yeah.
Pretty much every other song I did, I could go back to that and refer to.
Yeah. And
this one was not allowed to be on there,
right,
because it is the Eagles song.
Right. And
if you asked 100 people on the street, name an Eagles song, 99% of the people are going to say Hotel California.
Yeah.
Except for Jeff, just going to pull something out of his ass just to be a douche to the interviewer.
Exactly. The 1%, the 1% will be me, and I'll be, well, if you really want to go to shut up, fat man.
Right.
Pretty much what it'll be.
But Hotel California is just iconic. And I cannot hear that song now and not think about the Garth Brooks Live at the Wynn, where he's waxing off what colitas are.
Right?
And if you
I
don't
hate him for
know,
that, by the way.
I'm not going to spoil it.
Yeah.
You have to look it up. Either go to Walmart, buy the Garth Brooks Live at the Win, watch the whole show because it's worth it.
Yes.
It's not just Garth Brooks, it's Garth Brooks playing the songs of people that inspired him
Yes.
and showing how songs that other people did inspired songs that he did.
Right.
But the about 5-minute routine that he does about Hotel California and what colitas are is worth the price of admission right there.
Yeah, because if you buy it through Walmart or whoever the hell Garth, because Garth stuff has moved so many damn times nowadays. Whatever distributor you can find Garth shit on, even through GarthBrooks.com, buy the mucker further. Seriously, just please do it. Do yourself a favor. Not only do you get him talking about and singing a little parts of each song during the live show, but there's CDs in there that have the cuts of him singing the full songs. So listening to him, listening to Garth friggin' Brooks in Hotel California, it's like, okay, well, there's the common thread. There it is. It was here all along. Really,
Yeah,
it was.
Common thread. I like what you did there.
Well, no, I wasn't trying. I was literally saying, here, throw it on there. It's a country guy doing the Hotel California. Bing, there it is. Yeah, and what you mentioned, I'm not sure what's funnier, the fact of the meaning of the word or his expression.
Yeah.
Yeah. What he sit there like he's looking at the heavens like the fuck. It's one of my few favorite parts and makes me, to this day, I'm glad I didn't go out there to Vegas to see it because it wasn't what I thought it was going to be, but it's still a fun show. And the fact that these guys were an influence on arguably the most commercially successful country artist of all time. Again, these guys were influencers before that word existed.
Yeah. Before that became a trend.
Yes. Nicely list. Wow. Okay.
There is my 10. Now, before I hand the reins over to Mr. Meacham, I do have a couple of honorable mention things I want to throw out.
Ooh, this is news to me. Okay.
This is news, but I feel like we're talking about the band on its own. Okay. But we would be remiss not to discuss Joe Walsh's Rocky Mountain Way.
Definitely remiss. Yes.
We would be remiss not to talk a little bit about Glenn Frey's The All-Nighter, The Heat Is On, You Belong to the City, and Smuggler's Blues.
Oh, Lord.
And we would be remiss not to discuss Glenn Frey's Dirty Laundry, Sunset Grill, Don Henley, Dirty Laundry, Sunset Grill, Boys of Summer, All She Wants to Do Is Dance, The End of Innocence, and yes, Can Love Stand the Test from the Country Bears movie.
What was the over-under on that being brought up today? Thank you. All right, anyway.
I mean, once they broke off each other, they had great solo careers. I mean, hell, Joe Walsh's song came out mid-70s, still during the Eagles years. But you know, you weigh the pendulum there, Glenn or Don.
Yep.
It's just like, you know, John and Paul when it comes to solo. John and Paul, Glenn and Don. It's like, just depends what day of the week you want to ask. I mean, Don has got more than Glenn, but Glenn's got Beverly Hills Cop. He's got Miami Vice. Like,
right?
He was recognized by those major TV shows and movies. Like, that's the sound we want to identify it.
Yep. You talk about pop culture in the 70s and 80s. Beverly Hills Cop and Miami Vice. Hello.
Yeah. All She Wants to Do Is Dance didn't make a stink in the movie world until Coyote Ugly in the early 2000s, almost 15 years later.
And that's okay too.
I'm just saying, it took some time to get to where Glenn was as far as being recognized by movies and television. Like, hey, we want this guy on our soundtracks.
Glenn was such that guy that to this day, the only picture I found of any of them, I don't think any other guys wore it, in that King's uniform from that era at a show here was Glenn, because all right, well, he's the front man. Here, throw the jersey on him. And I found that picture out. I think you're the one that sent it to me, if I remember right. I saw that, and I think that made me cry more than when he died. Because it's like, man, they were so tied to that building and so tied to this region of the world that it's like, oh, look. You know, every year we pass his anniversary and his birthday, I just, okay, leave me alone today. Thanks. Yeah. That was a hell of a list. Like I said, I knew what was coming. It's not the order. I'm not surprised at number one at all. That's definitely what it should have been. So you told the world that I would be, giving folks like some of the lesser knowns or some of the deeper cuts. I wouldn't go quite that far. However, my list is very much more subjective to me because I didn't have the 10 you had to choose from, which again, that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted to go with because I knew that when you talked about the 10 you had, I could still give my thoughts on it. And, like on Take It to the Limit, people that haven't watched me for 20 years don't know that shit. So, to hear the opinions like that is, what I knew I'd be able to do it. And I knew that with my 10, if you've heard them, you'd be able to wax proxy with me. If not, you could be like, oh, I'll have to check that shit out. So it was all good. Ryan, no worries, dude. Definitely do your thing. And I will probably not see Raw till the East Coast feed like you're going to see it here in a couple minutes or an hour or so, but definitely a good point he makes about being excited for Raw. We've all been in that boat over here at the Casa and the JMN because we've got Noah and James on board with at least giving the 3-hour piece of Raw a chance. So we'll see.
And a little spoiler alert, whenever we do get to the Beatles songs down the road, which it is on the agenda, it's very much going to be a similar take as we're doing today, where I'm going to allow Jeff to handle the greatest hits because I know that's going to be what he knows the most. And I'm going to dig into the crates and I'm going to go into some of those deeper cuts that us Beatle fanatics know and we love and we can talk about, but the casual fan that just listens to the radio and unless you listen to like the Breakfast of the Beatles types of shows that give you everything.
Oh yeah.
Probably not going to know these songs. So
yeah. And if you have access to Breakfast with the Beatles and you've never really got a deep dive into the Beatles, I can't recommend that show enough either, for the record. Such good shit.
Good shit.
All right. That's right. So my number 10 is one of those more recent releases. Easy for me to say. And I know that the current Eagles fan will know, and the folks like my family and I that are hear everything Eagles will know about it. But I'll tell you what, How Long off of Long Road Out of Eden is probably, I'm trying to think. I've got, this is the only one I have off of the newer stuff, for the record. But yeah, How Long, I love the lyrics. I love how the music is arranged. I love everything about it. And it's one of those, it's very much an Eagles song. You hear the harmonies and you hear the distinctive voice and the distinctive sound. And it's another song of, a guy basically, telling his ex, like, how long is this going to go on? Like, how long, woman, will you leave? How long, rock yourself to sleep? It's like, bitch, I'm done with you. And you need to get with it and understand that right now. Cause I ain't dealing with it anymore. And it's very much a guy's Eagle song. And I love it. Every bit of it.
Okay.
All right.
Definitely have not heard that one before. So I'll have to, like you said, I'll have to look it up and check it out.
Yeah. This one here, because I was not allowed access to Hotel California, this is one of the two that's off the album, Hotel California. And you talk about quintessential, okay, that's the Eagles. I know it's the Eagles. It's without a doubt. Life in the Fast Lane. Like, is there any song on that album more well-known and more, I dare say, overplayed than the Life in the Fast Lane? I don't think there is, as far as the amount of airplay that song gets on classic rock, on 70s rock, on every Sirius satellite station that can make an excuse to include it in their genre. And it is a lifestyle song of the era, man. this couple's on the road and just all the drugs and all the partying.
It's a doozy of a track, and it's one that I actually discovered. It's one I discovered because of the reimagining of it that was done by Limp Bizkit.
Right?
On the chocolate starfish and the hot dog flavored water.
Yep. I remember that. I remember being pissed at Fred at first, but yeah.
I want to say they called it Living It Up.
Yeah.
But very much they sampled the Life in the Fast Lane. You know, they used interpolations of the track in their song. And that's how I discovered that one. You know, again, outside forces bringing me to the topic at hand.
Never a bad thing when that kind of synergy takes place, inadvertent or otherwise. So,
and if you're a fan of Life in the Fast Lane and you've never heard the Limp Bizkit version, give it a listen, see what you think. I mean, if Limp Bizkit isn't your style, you probably won't be too impressed, but just go into it with an open mind and listen to what the 2000s version is of this 70s classic.
Yes. We talked about during your side that there would be a lot of common thread throughout this show because of that album. This is one of the songs that you mentioned that was on the album that you mentioned that was, you know, left off, honorable mention, whatever you want to call it. And it's funny that it came up at all for me because I've never been the biggest fan of this song. For whatever reason, I don't really have it's one of those, like, I just don't like it. Like, and it's not that I dislike it. It's just not in my top 10. It'll ever be in my top 10 of their tracks. But, you know, we're going into legacy. We're going into the overall impact they've had. And Tequila Sunrise is very much one of their signature songs. And, you know, it is one of the ones that if it comes up on my play, I'll kind of just, you know, okay, that's cool, but I won't sit there and listen to it. But it is a great song if you are even more of an Eagles nut than I am, which is difficult. I've been told. My dad will listen to it. My dad likes the song a lot. Like I said, there's very few he doesn't like off of their off of their stuff. But again, you've got a great music arrangement. I wouldn't call it a harmony because it's very much just a main vocal. I mean, you get the backgrounds in there, but it's very much. I think it's Glenn that does this song. Again, forgive me.
I think so too.
But you know, again, can't call it Glenn's voice either. But yeah, it's a great tale. It's, you know, it's in the Tequila Sunrise, staring slowly across the sky. The days go by. You know, talking about a guy who, you know, has the woman he loves, and it's a forbidden love. He can't be with her, and there's nothing more, I don't think, grabbing in music than one version of a forbidden love story or another, because, man, there is nothing more gut-wrenching on this damned earth or any other world we have intelligent life on than a love and a life you cannot have with it. It is a bitch. And Tequila Sunrise definitely hits that button. So, not one of my personal favorites, but it hits here because it is so universally loved, and I'm trying to be as objective in my subjectivity as I possibly can. And again, common thread song, so you can't not include it because, again, that album is why we're sitting here today talking about these guys as opposed to them fading into the distance, you know, back in 1980.
Yeah. I mean, it's another good one. I mean, Alan Jackson's cover is what brought me to the dance. At the time this came out, I was a huge Alan Jackson fan.
Couldn't help but be back in those days.
Right? It was like you had Garth, you had George, you had Alan.
Yep.
And you really didn't need a whole lot else as far as solo.
Right. Nope. You mentioned George Strait. We're going to veer off very briefly here into the weeds, if I may.
That's fine.
One of Chris Stapleton's songs came up on the car ride home yesterday with Teresa, and I got agitated because he wins Entertainer of the Year so many damn times. at the CMAs or whatever CMMC, whatever the hell it's called.
ACM, CMA.
ACM, CMA is what the shit ever. He's literally George Strait with a beard. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not shitting on the king, because you shit on the king, you get blasphemous and you get smited or whatever. But George's act, and it works for him because he's the king and he's allowed. This is what George Strait does. He's just one of the best singers and harmonizers in country music. And he can get away with that shit. Chris Stapleton does that. He just has a Jesus beard and freaking ZZ Top hair. That's the difference.
Mm-hmm.
How is that an overall entertainer of the year?
Yeah, no.
Garth Brooks hops around that stage like he's still in his 20s. He cray.
Mm-hmm.
Luke Bryan does it because he's not too far past his 20s. He's not crazy. He's just energetic and still kicking ass on tour. Chris Stapleton sits here and does this. He's got a great voice. Hell of a singer, Chris Stapleton. I'm not even going to take it away from him at all. But very, very few people you can get away with trying to use the king shtick and have it work. Now, the CMA, whatever the hell, people seem to enjoy him enough where they vote him in as Entertainer of the Year. But I go, Singer of the Year, I can possibly get with. Songwriter of the Year, definitely in the hunt every single year. That dude writes stuff that I can't even fart out straight, let alone properly think of it, right? But Entertainer of the Year, that's an overall package deal. And I have a problem with that. I really do. All right.
Yeah,
anyway.
I just to rebuttal on this real quick, since you opened this can of worms.
It just bugs me.
I am not a fan of Chris Stapleton either. And I don't necessarily knock his voice, but I hate the fact of how over he's gotten as a result of his voice when there's a guy named Randy Houser who has a very similar voice, and he gets shit on and gets absolutely no radio play.
Randy gets nothing. It's bull.
And he's been doing it first.
Yeah. And
Randy made his name and cut his teeth writing songs for other artists.
Yep.
Like another favorite for the person who drove you home yesterday. You know, did a little ditty for a guy named Trace Adkins called Honky Tonk Badonkadonk.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
He's had a stellar career, but he gets zero airplay pretty much. He doesn't get to sell out arenas. He does House of Blues shows, which is great because I get to be right up on the freaking barricade in arm's reach of him.
Oh, yeah.
Get to get pictures with him as he walks past the bar in Anaheim.
Yes.
You know, but at the same time, I wish he could get the recognition that Stapleton gets, that Luke Combs gets. And I don't hate on Luke Combs. I love him too.
Oh, yeah.
But again, it's like cut from the same mold. It's just, one got skyrocketed to the main event level, one's the upper mid card, and one's the jobber. And if you know any of those artists, you can figure out who's where.
Yeah. Another one that got me, I knew he was a great artist and a hell of a songwriter, and I like the song that he wrote himself and actually cut on his own album, but Luke did it. Billy Currington, another guy that doesn't get the love. But anyway, we're going in the weeds here. But yeah, just I saw Chris's name on the display on the car. I'm like, I need to say something about this.
Yeah.
It's been bugging me for 2 years. All right. Anyway, bit of the do. Number 7 is another one of those, you know, the Eagles, you know this song. I'm pretty sure you said it was on Common Thread. I haven't seen the Common Thread back cover in a hot minute, so forgive me. But One of These Nights is an Eagles track. It is everybody's up on it. Everybody has their part in it. It is very much the Eagles at their very best. It just pings all the things that songs need. Whoop, shit. Don't want it. Spoiler for the next one. Watch. There's one.
Botch.
Yeah, there's one. I'm gonna do
get the Noah Foster botch in there.
Right. This song, and you know what? Hell with it. So is the next one. So we'll go since I already ruined everything. Although James Dean's Lester, no. So we'll get into that. And I was surprised I hadn't heard about that one until I did. But anyway, One of These Nights is very much a quintessential rock track, a storytelling track, an Eagles track, and it can be really on any playlist of any genre other than let's turn the song on and get the party into overdrive. It's not that kind of song. Pretty much anything else, it's workable.
I guess it just depends what kind of party you're having.
Fair enough.
I mean, if you're having more of a kickback where people are just kind of chilling and smoking and drinking,
this is definitely
would fit.
Yeah, dance party though.
I mean, as far as like a club banger, like, yo, let's get people on the dance floor. No.
Yeah. So to recap, we've had the word botched.
The type of parties that I would throw these days, this would fit.
And I will be there on the corner of that couch with my whiskey and ginger ale and my whiskey and club soda in my hand going, yep, this is one of those nights, and that's okay. It's all good.
But let's be real. This has been one of these days for you, but I digress.
Please buy this shirt. I need some money. I do have good news on the money front, though. We'll talk about it off air. So for the record, we've had Botch, we've had Banger, and we've talked about Chris Stapleton not being the entertainer of the year on an Eagles show. There you go. Anyway, that is my fault. All right. Almost halfway tonight.
You know what? Before we get further, I'm going to throw one more in there. Chris Stapleton being where he is, that's bullyism.
Fudge. I'm trying not to use the F word so explicitly, but that almost got me. I'm glad I caught my damn self, because holy fudge, Jay. Anyway, that was Charlie Brown seeing the good real fudge in person. So the fact that I said fudge, I feel better. All right, James Dean, number 6. Hand to God, until there's an album cover you said the very best of the Eagles you had up on one of your choices.
Yeah, I had that for Please Come Home for Christmas.
I did not know that song existed. Old 55. Pretty much anything that wasn't on that original greatest hits or the subsequent greatest hits releases back. I didn't know this song existed, and I am mad at my damn self because James Dean was a big hit for them. It didn't get, Health of California level because reasons, but James Dean is. Remember, James Dean met a very sudden, very tragic end. Was supposed to be one of the greatest things to ever come out of Hollywood ever, and it's you were too fast to live, too young to die. Bye bye. It's like, is that not the James Dean story in one freaking line of song? Boop.
It's very much a similar tale of Heath Ledger.
Yeah, it's just the Eagles weren't together back. Heath was around to write a song about Heath was not around for the Eagles to write about back then. I got it out, yay!
I actually only heard James Dean for the first time riding around today.
Yeah, okay,
legit. I turned 46 in 2 weeks,
right?
And this was the first time I ever heard that song.
Literally the first time in forever. Yeah. I only really got to go deep on that White Album, The Ravens Eagles, because of Walmart and stocking, and earbuds were my friend.
Yeah.
So, either that or the original Ric Flair podcast, which was an adventure and a half. Woo! The Woo Nation was keep me moving.
I used that album cover for Please Come Home for Christmas because, believe it or not, that was the first time that song was released on an Eagles album.
How do you not commercially release that? How do you not?
Because why are you going to put a Christmas song on one of your other albums? You're not. You're going to put it on a Christmas album. They didn't do a full-on Christmas album, so and they broke up.
Right.
Greatest hits albums were what they were. So the first time it was actually released on an authentic Eagles album was that greatest hits album.
Yeah. The very best was at least a mid 2000, early 2010s release. So that was a hidden gem that was out in the open because enough people knew. But man, it was way too good to be buried. Another one that's, again, never been one of my favorites. We talk about harmonies on the Eagles. You're talking about all that. It's not on my list because it's not one of my favorites. But Seven Bridges Road, still to this day, does not have a in-studio recording. The only way you can hear the Eagles sing Seven Bridges Road is off of a live album.
That's crazy.
Never got the studio.
That's crazy.
It's one of their, I mean, again, not mine, but it's one of their better known and better loved songs. And if I remember the story right, the album they were getting ready to go cut before they fell apart was Seven Bridges Road. It was going to be featured. Matter of fact, the track they took it from on the live album in 1980, which is also going to come up here momentarily, that's the reason they cut it, because at that show, it was like, I'm going to kill. They were ready to kill each other right then and there. And it was like, we need to get this track out because it's too good to not have out commercially somehow. So when they released live album, this is like the first or second song. But James Dean, hearing it now, all those years later, you hearing it today for the first time, I don't know why it didn't get the muscle or the promo behind it some of these other songs did, because it's a damn good little track.
The only thing I can think of, and I mean, while I'm talking, you maybe can look up the actual year that it came out, but it could have still been maybe a little bit of a soft, touchy subject, around the time that its release. Look at the year of release and the year that James Dean passed. And even though some time had passed in between, it still could have been a very touchy subject, kind of like how the Kennedy assassination was still a very touchy subject for years after it happened. The death of Marilyn Monroe was a touchy subject for years after it happened. The passing of Elvis was a touchy subject for years after it happened. I mean, hell, well into the late 80s, people were swearing they still had Elvis sightings.
When you consider that Goodbye,
Candle in the Wind.
Candle in the Wind, and thank you. Goodbye, Norma Jean is the first line. Was released many years after Marilyn's death. Is still, and again, same with this. This came out almost 20 years after James passed.
Okay.
But even still, James Dean's end was still so just what to people around the country.
And there was kind of a resurgence for him during that era.
Yes.
So that could be part of why too, is like it just didn't get the traction because of touchy subject matter.
And you figure 70s were still all about fast cars and fast lifestyle, and the drugs were prevalent.
Here's a perfect example. Okay. Where were you when The World Stopped Turning?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep.
Came out shortly after, had its success.
Yep.
But how often do you hear it on the radio these days? Maybe on the anniversary.
Right.
One day out of 365.
I only say it's not a correlated example because that song was written for that moment, for that unbelievably tragic point in history that legitimately affected everybody. Whereas as much as James Dean was beloved and as much, love as he had around the world and everything, I think that a song paying tribute to him, I won't say it's timeless because it's the wrong connotation of the word, but it's still very much understood that, the reasons he died, the way he lived, can very much be applied as a teaching moment today. Where were you when the world stopped turning? It's one of those, we know why this happened. We know how we know the bad guy's motivation. James Dean's death, it was just so abrupt and so, oh my God, he was 24, whatever it was, years old, and just, had a car accident. Marilyn's, and Marilyn was so iconic. Both these people are so iconic in and of themselves, and they became much more iconic after they passed, I feel. So tributes to them, even 20 years later, still held enough water where they could make, put on an album track and still not make money, because it sounds like they're just being gratuitously asshole about, I'm gonna make money off death. It's like, it's not what I'm saying on either side, Elton or the but Where Were You When the World Stopped Turning is very much all of us as a people, as a country, as a group, were so viscerally affected by September 11th, 2001, that anything they talked about, that was anywhere related to that got a basic primal reaction. Whereas you play where the world's turning now, especially the way the world has become the last 20 years, it could set off a whole set of riots or some other stupid shit. So I understand what you're saying as far as that Gain Airplay versus James Dean or Candle of the Wind, but there's probably a very much more, unfortunately, sinister undertone for why they don't play it, because they don't want to incite. You can play James Dean right now, people aren't going to lose their shit. Same with Candle of the Wind, unless you're in England and you play the Diana version, because then you're just going to get people just punching in the face, because they're not over that shit yet 25 years later. And I don't expect you to be, all for the record.
No,
that was screwed up what happened to Diana.
Big G, welcome to the show,
brother.
He says, I really enjoy some of the Eagles songs. Good to know. You're probably going to want to rewind the show after it's done, because I more or less cover the greatest hits. Jeff's taken us through some of the lesser known, for lack of a better phrase, songs. Right. What you got next for us, Jeff?
This one next is I think it was the first single released off of The Comeback. And I liked it because I was able to cuss when I sang it, which I wasn't allowed to do at home. And that was off Hell Freezes Over, and pretty straightforward. Get over it. Which has been a philosophy of mine and my father's for many years. It's like, ugh, just get over it already. But yeah, this song was one of the, I think, one or two original songs on the track that wasn't a previously released Eagles classic. And I just love it. I absolutely love it. And the very last verse before you hit the chorus, complain about the present, blame it on the past, like to find your inner child and kick its little ass. It's like, I get to cuss when I sing. I'm 11 years old, whatever. But yeah, it's very much if we were to release this song now in 2022, the snowflakes would melt away the album tracks, the sales, because don't tell me to get over it. I'm entitled to my feelings. It's like, dude, it's a song. STFU. Like, seriously. Please tell Sean I say hello. And please let him know I'm thinking of him. I've said much in text and tweets, but I never know what goes through and what doesn't. And I have been thinking about him and Kevin and Sean and Hunter for, God, it's been almost 5 months since Kevin passed. Scott passed. That's crazy. But yeah, please give Sean my love and let him know that we're thinking of him and that little man and I miss him to pieces.
And if you think about it and he'll oblige, maybe see if you can get him to send like a little 30-second video for the channel.
I appreciate the working man get me on my personal headspace there. That was good shit.
God draw money. I'll be back next week.
That's right. But yeah, Get Over It is very much I think it was also a slight in the face of people. You never come back. Well, we did. Get over it.
Probably. Knowing the sense of humor that those guys have, it's probably exactly what it was. Yeah. Oh, I thought you said you'd get back when hell freezes over. Get over it. Get over it.
And it's like, I thought you would come back. It's like, well, I can send you there and you can see if it's frozen. Yep, too. Otherwise,
all right.
Piss off. Okay. No, where the hell am I? I don't even know what number I'm on. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that was halfway. Yeah. Number 5 is not an Eagles song.
Oh.
Technically. It is a Joe Walsh song. However, the first time I heard it ever was on that 1980 live album I mentioned earlier. And it is very much a Joe Walsh song. It is Life's Been Good. It actually was released as a single off a different album, and then it was on his album. But seriously, folks, and it got played at the 1980 show that they cut the live album off of, and this song is 7 minutes long at least on the album. It is a long song. but a lot of it is instrumental. A lot's instrumental. If you cut out the instrumental extended breaks, which I'm sure was probably for Joe Walsh to go take a nap because he was tired because he old. The song's maybe 30 seconds. Feels like it, but it is a fun song.
Joe Walsh, who was close to retirement then.
Yeah, Joe Walsh, who's having retired, who's older than Terry Funk and still hasn't retired. Anyway, tell me I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure I'm right on that actual factoid, but it's very much a aloof party rock star, just meh, whatever about life. I have a mansion, forget the price. Never been there. They tell me it's nice. I live in hotels, tear out the walls. I have accountants pay for it all. It's like, if ever there was a Ric Flair in a song, it is Life's Been Good, because life has been very good in H.
Woo!
But he's trying to party his way out of living it all the way through. Let's see here. My Maserati is 185. I lost my license. Now I can't drive. I have a limo riding the trunk. I lock the door in case I get drunk. Or I have a limo riding the back. I lock the doors in case I'm attacked. It's like, again, Flair, Horseman.
Life in the fast lane, baby.
Right? It's like, it is my favorite song. It's not just the Eagles, or it's not only the group. It's so fun. Like I said, first time I heard it was on this album. They've done it at every Eagles show I've been to. And it's the only song I can sit there and listen to, and it goes on and on. It's like, all right, keep it going. More verses, make up shit. Let's go. Come on, bring it in. And it's great. And karaoke, it's a hell of a lot of fun too. If you ever get interested in that, that's good shit for sure. All right. Number 4 is another one that is on Common Thread. It is another one that should be on every Eagles discussion video in the history of ever. The Long Run off The Long Run. Another one up there with Take It Easy, Hotel, Life in the Fast Lane. Another song coming up here on the next track I'm going to list. That if ever there was a Eagles museum or a continual Eagles tribute video that plays all the time, like a 24-hour channel, it's just the Eagles, this song should probably repeat, if not every other hour, then every hour. It is a trademark Eagles song through and through, and the music is tremendous. The singing is even better, I dare say. And I love the chorus, especially. Who goes this? We'll find out in the long run. I know we can make it if our love is a strong one. It's like, man, this is a love song. Another one of those songs that nobody believes in what we can do, you and I, except you and I. And we got this. So good. So good. Very much like Shania's
You're Still the One.
Still the One. Thank you. Gosh, forgive me, Shania, if you're watching, because I love you. But the brain is what it is today. It's very much Us Against the World song, and it hits. Every button needs to hit. I love it. So wonderful.
Good stuff.
Number 3 for me, there is a lyric in the final. I don't know if it's the bridge or the final verse of this that always gets to me in a way. It's not a memory of my own. It's not one of those like Take It to the Limit where every bit of that song makes me cry like a baby, but the lyric itself just hits.
Okay.
And it's off of New Kid in Town, which again, going back and finding these album covers, I forgot New Kid was on a double side with Victim of Love, which is another underrated, underappreciated Eagles song for me, but it's not on my list, so take it for what it's worth. But New Kid in Town, we've all been at a school or a job or whatever that had the new person come in. They were the new shiny toy. It's like, ooh, who's this? Let's all of us give him an attention. Oh yeah, you've been here for okay, yeah, we'll get back to you in a minute. And the cycle repeats. The new shiny toy gets pushed to the back. And the line I'm talking about is, they will never forget you till somebody new comes along. It's like, damn, that's powerful in one line.
Woody and Buzz, anybody?
Right? I heard this song for the first time in a long time after I saw Toy Story. I'm like, even at 12 years old, you go, did somebody get some inspiration from Don? Damn. Yeah, New Kid in Town it's very much a rise and fall of somebody who is the greatest thing since sliced bread. It's like, yeah, but we got homemade bread maker stuff over here. Oh, that's cool. We've got homemade sourdough over here. Oh, that's cool. We got just this vicious cycle of hell with each new person that comes into your life. I love this song to freaking pieces, and it almost hit number one if it wasn't for the two I got coming up.
This one is an interesting one for me because of the fact that the way I discovered it. I didn't discover it through Common Thread, this one.
Oh.
I discovered this one a little bit differently. I mean, maybe I'd heard it on Common Thread, but I didn't really pay a lot of attention to that one, despite my love for Trisha. But there's a Christmas song called The New Kid in Town.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We talked about that.
And so when I would look for that song so I could download it, this pops up.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, is this a cover of that song, or is this the original of that song? When you listen, it's like, whoa, this is not even close to that song.
No.
It's good. Don't get me wrong. But I'm looking for this. This ain't that.
Yeah.
So it's like that. That's how I discovered that song originally, nice. Or like how it really kind of got embedded into my brain, was trying to find. I want to say it was Kathy Mattea's version of "There's a New Kid in Town."
Yes, so good also.
And then there's "The New Kid in Town," and it's like, yeah.
Another lady I heard a lot on the car ride yesterday.
Yes,
a lot.
As well,
well. I should have known beforehand, but I was reminded. All right, so the last two songs are off the same album.
Okay.
And not only that, I didn't discover the title track of the album until the very best Eagles album came out, which shows you how zoned in I was on their shit, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, the title track of this album, no idea it existed until 2013-ish. But number two. Oh, wait. What the hell? Why is that there? I screwed up. Gosh darn it. Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, I'm right at number one. New Kid was number two.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Did I skip something? 10, 9, 8, 7. Did that. 6. Did that. Yeah, I got them all. All right. Well, anyway. So
that just shows what kind of day Jeff's having today, folks.
Seriously. For some reason, the James Dean thing was on there twice. I just didn't see it. All right.
This is the Botchamania edition of Dad's Not Always on Wrestling.
Aaron, here you go. Start clipping shit. Anyway. This is also on Common Thread. Already Gone was done by who on that track, on that album?
Already Gone was Tanya Tucker.
Okay. I have not, since I listened to the cassette of that album for the first time, heard Tanya's version. I will definitely have to get onto it soon. So I didn't know it existed, but Already Gone, On the Border, good Lord Almighty, is my favorite of the you don't think of this right away when you think of the Eagles songs.
Fair.
Already Gone is so beautifully arranged. The music is just peppy enough where you can get into it. The lyrics are great.
Agreed.
It's basically saying, I thought you were going to get me and kick me to the curb, huh? I'm already gone, bitch. Okay, bye. It's very much, I think I included it on our breakup songs show. If I didn't, honorable mention now, a year and a half later, but it's on there. Because it's very much okay, see ya. I'm already gone. it's just one of the great, like, you know, it's letter that you wrote me. Maybe something. Just remember. No, I forget what the order is, but it's basically, you know, something about, you know, and you know, basically he's trying to tell her that, you know, you're going to find out this is the reality of the situation, and then you'll have to eat your lunch all by yourself. It's like, just randomly throwing it. It's like, yep, you're going to eat your lunch by yourself just because I'm being a dick and cutting you off at the head, at the legs first. Every time I go through a breakup, a romantic fight with anybody, it's like, throw it on. It's like Mick Foley walking into his dorm room and putting on that damn whatever song it was when he was talking about doing the hardcore drop stuff. It's like, that's my F every woman in the history of ever song.
Fair.
There it is. All right, so now that I've botched the entire show that my favorite band was the subject of, and even botched my number one entry, good Lord. There it is. If you've not been keeping the list long, we will have it up. I'm going to try, since we're done earlier than 5, which I'm surprised at, by the way, considering it was the Eagles. If not at 5, then during the 5 o'clock hour, I'll have the track listed for you guys to check out these songs on your own. It'll be on the reply tweets and the reply posts to this show going up, because I can't encourage the entire world too many times to check this band out. They are they're almost as much a part of my childhood as the Kings and as Disney and as Kane High School, which I'm not going to see you guys before this happens, but my son is starting at that school tomorrow. At Canyon, where I grew into the person I would have become had I not taken the blow to the head. It's still very much me that he's going to be at my high school.
It's the circle of life.
Right? Very much so. So yeah, the Eagles are definitely part of the fabric of me and my family's dynamic and my childhood into adulthood life cycle. So if you think of me for nothing else, then as long as you have the Disneyland background music, these guys, and Randy Newman's I Love LA, you've got Jeff Meacham covered on songs.
And Real American and Rock House.
Definitely Rock House. Real American, I actually like a lot, but I can take or leave the track itself. When it comes to the Hulkster, I actually like American Made about as equal as Real American, and people are gonna be like, "Oh, shoot him, smite him! He's being blasphemous again."
Yeah,
that's what I said. But yeah, Rock House probably more so than the Babyface stuff. Believe it or not.
There you go.
Just love it, love it, love it. Hooah! All right, let me go into the open mic night thing where we were, because we have the same background, and that it was there. Some bitch. Nope, it wasn't there. Just kidding, you dummy. Where the hell did I put it? Oh, I know where I put it. That's okay. We're doing plugs anyway, so it is what it is. Okay. JJ, my friend, there is a lot of stuff going on, but feel free to take us home and let us know what we're seeing, particularly tomorrow.
Okay. Well, tomorrow on the Casa. Oh, wait. Yeah. Sorry. It's been so long.
There's a copy that you sent me that you were going to use.
No. Oh. I realize that. Well, folks, It's been one of these nights, and as the sun sets over the Hotel California, we remind you not to live life in the fast lane, but instead learn to be still. Don't forget that tomorrow there's a new kid in town as the stat boy, Mike Caldwell, makes his return to the Casa D18 Studios channel for the season premiere of Stat Boys Sports Bar, featuring Dory Lou. Remember, there may be a hole in the world, but love will keep us alive.
I love that track too, by the way.
For the West Coast Professor Jeff Meacham, I am the Renegade JJ Williams. This has been the Dads, not always on wrestling. And until that next tequila sunrise, we'll see you next time.
That's good. I can't find the images, so we're just going to sign off because the images are not loading because I'm having that again today.